fourth. He's at second base. Tony Randazzo behind home plate calls the balls and strikes. Here we go. Time to play some ball in Toronto, as the first pitch to Curtis Granderson is outside for ball one. Jamie Campbell and Pat Tabler are in the booth. Sam Cosentino is down low. There's a good looking pitch inside for a strike. Granderson got the first run of the year for the Tigers when he hit a solo home run in the opener off of Roy Halladay.
He has improved his on-base percentage the last 3 years, really settling in as one of the better leadoff hitters in baseball. He combines power with some speed. Remember a couple of years ago when he had all those strikeouts. In fact, he led the American League in striking out, I believe, with 174. That has come down over the last couple of years also, as he becomes more familiar with the pitchers in the American League.
Here's the 2-2 pitch, and he golfs the ball in the air to center field. In comes Wells, and out goes Granderson for the first out of the ball game.
You were talking about Jesse Litch being sent down last year. To his credit, I think he went down there and did something with his pitch repertoire that made him a better pitcher. He went down there, they were talking to him, the Blue Jays, about, hey, you got to add something more to what you have. He's got that natural cutting fastball. And I think one time through the league, the hitter started catching up to him. They started leading out over the plate a little bit more from the right side, looking for that ball away. And the Blue Jays were harping on him that, hey, you've got to have something to bust these guys off the plate. He went down there, picked up that four-seam fastball, and really finished up strong.
This one hangs in the air. A diving attempt by Snyder, but it comes up a little short, and Polanco has a hit. What an effort from the young left fielder.
We saw that on opening day, how Travis Snyder laid out down the left field line and missed a ball. This time he's going to come a long way and just couldn't get there. Watch this. He needed about 3 or 4 more inches. And that ball goes in the glove and stays, but it'll go as the first hit of tonight's game.
And so Polanco is on for the number 3 hitter and designated hitter this evening, Maglio Ordonez. One ball and one strike. Ordonez well remembered in Detroit for hitting a walk-off 3-run home run against Oakland in Game 4 of the 2006 American League Championship Series. That sent Detroit to the World Series.
He's always been such a clutch hitter. A guy who can pick up those RBIs, but he has had his trouble against the Blue Jays in his career. His batting average against them in the 260 range is the lowest against any opposition. So with the likes of Halladay and Litch, they have handled him over the years.
Now it's 3-1 on Ordonez, with Polanco at first, 1 gone in the first inning. And the number 4 hitter, Miguel Cabrera, on deck. So here's a big pitch early in the game for Litch, and it's tapped up the middle into center field, and Polanco turns for third but thinks otherwise. And a base hit now from Ordonez puts Tigers at first and second.
You know, Jesse Litch is such a good fielder. Gets himself into good position after he releases the ball, and he almost came up with this one hopper back through the mound. You see he's just a little bit late in his reaction as that ball went out in center field. He felt like he should have had it, but it just squirts through. Ordonez's 3rd hit of the season.
It's interesting how an inning can change when fielders just miss a ball, and we've seen that with the last 2 hits. And here's Miguel Cabrera. He tags it to left field, and you can kiss it goodbye. A 3-run shot on the first pitch he sees from Jesse Litch.
One of the better sluggers in the American League is Miguel Cabrera. I think it took him a while to kind of figure out the American League last year, but when he did, 21 home runs after the All-Star break. And his first one here of 09. Down and in, and he just turns on it. Those are the kind where you can kind of walk out of the batter's box because you know you got all of it.
Quickly 3-0 for the Tigers. And Cabrera is only 25 years of age, Pat. Already he has 176 major league home runs, and he's only 25.
Well, he started, how old was he, like 20 years old?
With the Marlins?
With the Marlins. In the World Series, I remember seeing him. I said, boy, this guy's got a future. He reminded me of Manny Ramirez when Ramirez first came up. Miguel Cabrera used to be a shortstop, and they put him in the outfield. Said, oh, here's the next Manny Ramirez, and he's not disappointing, is he?
Certainly not disappointing to Tiger fans who haven't had much to get excited about the first two games. So Litch working now on Carlos Guillen, the left fielder. 1 ball and 2 strikes, and Jesse's got his first strikeout of the ball game. Little changeup gets Guillen there, and there are 2 away.
Yeah, it looked like he pulled the string just a little bit for Guillen, kind of messed up his timing. Watch how he pulls back on it, and you can see Guillen way out in front of that ball. The location.
And that brings up Gerald Laird, the catcher. Swing and a miss. 0-1. Laird's not much of a power hitter, just 25 home runs in 376 big league games.
Most of those in Texas.
Hitters Ballpark.
Great Hitters Ballpark. So the power might come down a little bit hitting in Comerica Park. But they got this guy for his defense. Very good catch and throw type of player. Good arm. They wanted to improve that defense in the middle. They really scuffled last year defensively. And they think after Pudge is gone, they got rid of him, traded him last year. They went out and got Laird. Feel like they have made themselves stronger up the middle. Loves Blue Jay pitching.
Litch winds for the 2-2, and here it comes up high, a full count to Laird. Jesse Litch will tell you he tries to pattern himself as much as he can behind Roy Halladay, and here's one thing he does similar to Halladay. He works quickly, gets the ball, gets the sign, and goes.
You know, you got to like that. When you work quickly, you throw strikes, the game just seems so much crisper.
Fly ball into right field. Rios is under it for the catch. The side is retired, but Miguel Cabrera's first home run of the year is a 3-run shot, and the Tigers have an early lead. You're watching Blue Jays baseball on Rogers Sportsnet. Changed from Monday's opener. Cito Gaston does not like to mess with success. Adam Lind had a big opening game, as you know, with 6 runs driven in, a new Blue Jays record for an opening day. He'll be hitting 5th tonight. Marco Scutaro is the leadoff man, and he faces Zach Miner of the Detroit Tigers, a 27-year-old from St. Louis, Missouri.
Zach Miner has been one of those swing type of pitchers the last couple of years for Detroit. The long man out of the bullpen. If there's any injuries in the starting rotation, he is going to get the ball. Those 8 wins that you see for him last year were a career high. 13 starts. He is starting because of the injury to Jeremy Bonderman, who starts the season on the DL with a shoulder problem. So he opens the season as a starter for the first time in his career. Doesn't throw very hard. Will try and sink the ball, move the ball around the strike zone. Doesn't really overpower you as you see his numbers there. That's where he's going to have to live, right there on the outside part of the plate.
Scutaro rips it foul. Marco had a 2-out single in the 8th inning last night that kept the inning alive for Aaron Hill to hit a home run. So it seems over the first 2 games, Pat, every Blue Jay at some point has made a vital contribution.
And things have worked out for them over the last couple of nights. Or the error by Brandon Inge at third base really opened it up for the Blue Jays to get those 3 runs.
2-2 pitch, and it's fair just inside the bag. Scutaro turns for second. Guillen brings it in a little wide of the base, and here's a leadoff double.
Second extra base hit for Marco Scutaro this year. His first double. He tripled on opening night. Watch, he pulls his hands in and rips that ball down the left field line. He keeps it fair right over the corner of the bag. As you see, the third base umpire Jerry Lane signal fair ball. Hey, that's what you got to do. You give up 3 in the top of the inning. Let's come out here swinging. Let's get a couple of those back. Take some of the pressure off of Jesse Litch.
And Aaron Hill comes up swinging, a gapper to right center field, and just like that, the Blue Jays are on the board. Scutaro scores. Hill doubles him home. It's 3-1.
The confidence that we have seen from the Blue Jay hitters since the opening pitch this year, night and day from last year. Usually you'll see your second hitter down by 3 runs after a leadoff double, just kind of like service the ball to the right side to get him over. Cito Gaston doesn't want Aaron Hill doing that. He wants him to be aggressive. If you're going to hit the ball the other way, try and get a base hit. He does, and the Blue Jays are on the board. That's what he was talking about the other day about Aaron Hill hitting second in the lineup, that he doesn't want him to be one of those kind of guys who just moves runners and say, this guy can drive in runs. Don't change anything.
Back-to-back doubles. And the Blue Jays answer with a quick run. We'll see if there is more in store here with the heart of the order coming up. Alex Rios, the 3-hitter, knows that Vernon Wells is on deck behind him, and Adam Lind in the hole.
And you know Alex is not going to try and hit the ball the other way. He is put in that third slot to drive in runs, and when you've got guys out there, as you see his numbers against the Tigers, 19 RBIs in 30 games, he is there to drive in runs. You're not moving runners over, especially in the first inning.
The 1-1 pitch, and it's on the ground into right field. Another base hit for the Blue Jays. They hold Hill at third. Double, double, and single in the first for the Blue Jays. Well, he went the other way anyway.
Yeah, he did, because that ball was sinking down and in. Watch how it's going down, and he stays back behind the ball. If he's thinking pull right there, he rolls over on that ball, and it's an easy ground ball to the third baseman. But he stays back, he hits it with authority and just shoots it into right field for a hit. Jays offense, 17 runs in their first 2 games. Heading into this game, it took him into the 5th game last year to get to 17 runs.
Here's Vernon Wells, and he's aggressive, swinging at the first pitch from Minor. 0-1 on Vernon. Minor was originally drafted by the Braves, but dealt to Detroit in a deal that saw Kyle Farnsworth acquired by Atlanta. That was back in 2005. A tough start for Minor here tonight. 0-1 on Wells. Now a ball and a strike.
You can see the numbers right there. That covers 16 2/3 innings for Zach Minor versus the Blue Jays. Just 3 earned runs. He has had their number. He's done it by kind of mixing speeds and keeping the ball down. He's kind of a sinker slider type of pitcher. For him, less is more, I think. If he's trying to overthrow, he kind of straightens up and his ball straightens out. When he takes a little something off and he's in the 91, 92 miles per hour range, that's when he gets that good sinking action on his fastball.
Is this a situation, having given up 3 hits, where he might be inclined to overthrow?
Yeah, this is where, you know, a pitcher needs to kind of step back, take a deep breath. 2-1 here, take a little something off. You know, maybe you get that hitter a little too anxious trying to score that runner from third base, and then he rolls over on a ball. And pitcher's best friend is the double play ball. That's what he's looking for right here from Vernon Wells.
Vernon has 2 doubles and a single in the first 2 games. A 3-1 count, runners on first and third. Here's the pitch from Minor, and it's ball 4. And Gerald Laird's going to trot out to the mound as Minor ties his shoe for the 2nd time. And now Rick Knapp will join them. This is a pitcher encountering some early struggles here.
Yeah, this is where the pitching coach comes out and says, okay, let's take a deep breath. Let's step off. Maybe you see something in the windup. Again, his whole key, talking to the Detroit people, is for him to stay over the mound just a little bit longer. That allows him to get his arm up and catch up with his lower half, and that will help him again to get some good sink on the ball.
Let's get a word from the 3rd member of our broadcast team and bring in Sam Cosentino.
Well, Pat, I was going to touch on that just a little bit by sometimes thinking that taking less is actually more, and that is definitely the case for Minor. But when you look at the situation he was in coming out of spring training, he was told when it was learned that Jeremy Bonner would not start the season that he would start the season in the rotation. And Jim Leland told me before the game that he felt that that would give him confidence. From that point on in spring, he had a particularly good spring, but obviously not off to the greatest start here tonight.
Roller to third, taken by Inge. He comes home and gets the force of Hill.
Boy, what a play by Gerald Laird, the catcher for the Detroit Tigers. That ball was tailing from Brandon Inge. Now, think about if you're Gerald Laird. You got to touch home plate. The ball is tailing into the batter, or excuse me, the runner, and you could get crushed right there. You expose your whole right side. Watch how this ball kind of tails on Inge, and he's got to reach across there, shuffle his feet, and you're exposed that if he comes in there, if he was a little bit closer, he could have crushed him with a cross body block. But he's able to hold on to the ball, find the plate, and record the first out.
So Minor gets an out, and now Scott Rowland steps in. Rowland hitting .429. He was 2 for 4 last night, 3 for 7 in the series, and hit a home run on Edwin Jackson. 1 ball and 1 strike as Rowland tries to add to the scoring here for the Blue Jays in the 1st inning.
Yeah, everybody was talking about the 3-run home run by Aaron Hill in last night's ball game. Not a lot of people talked about the big base hit that Scott Rowling got in the 9th inning.
Off the end of the bat into shallow right field. Tagging is Rios. Here's the throw home, and he is DOA. Thrown out at the plate on a wonderful toss by Josh Anderson in right field. And the Blue Jays, after all of that, get only one in the first inning. Them on your computer with MLB.tv, featuring 100 out-of-market games per week live on your computer. For details, please visit BlueJays.com, where baseball is always on. Back at Rogers Center, we begin the second inning with a short hopper to Aaron Hill. Brandon Inge is thrown out 4-3, and Jesse Litch gets a quick out here in the second.
Yeah, that's what you want. You know, you gave up the 3-run home run in the first inning. Your team in the bottom of the inning gets one back. It could have been a lot more. So you have a quick second inning here, throw lots of strikes. You're at the bottom of the lineup of the Detroit Tigers. Get back in there and see if you can get something started in the bottom of the second.
The number 8 hitter for Detroit is Ramon Santiago, who replaces Adam Everett. Santiago sees his first regular season appearance this year. And he grounds the ball past the third baseman. It's kept in the infield by Marco Scutaro, but too deep to make a throw, and Santiago has a single.
That's his game right there, where you just kind of slap the ball around. Hard to defense a guy who swings like that. You know, ball's away, you just slap at, and he's got enough speed that I don't think Marco Scutaro, even if he comes up with this ball, is going to throw him out.
So left-handed hitting Josh Anderson, who threw out Alex Rios in the bottom of the first, steps in. Anderson got the opening day assignment in left field and went 0 for 3 on Monday.
Jim Leyland likes to rotate that designated hitter position, especially with the release of Gary Sheffield right at the end of spring training. He has used 3 designated hitters in 3 days.
Chopped foul right in front of the plate, 0-2 now.
He is a master at getting the whole team involved, keeping everybody ready, feeling like they're part of the team. getting guys in the outfield when they need to, pinch running, whatever it is, using all 25 of his guys to make them feel like they're contributing to this ball club.
Off the plate, 1-2. If you just joined us, Detroit got their 3 in the top of the first inning on a 3-run shot by Miguel Cabrera. The Blue Jays scored 1 in the bottom of the inning after back-to-back doubles. Scudero came home after Hill doubled behind him and had a bases loaded, none out situation, but couldn't get another run across, so an opportunity missed in the last of that inning. Here it's a 1-2 pitch, and it's ripped high and deep to right field. Rios toward the corner, and he makes the catch on the run.
Did you get a feeling that that ball was hit harder than it ended up?
It sounded like it was going out.
Yeah, it certainly did, but tracked all the way by Alex Rios. He knew exactly where that wall was. Listen to this. That sound right there, especially hit down the line like that. We've seen those balls leave the ballpark, but stays in. Rios with those long strides, hauls it in for out number 2 here.
I think the sound is a little more pronounced when there's a lighter crowd.
What is it, echo, you mean?
Well, we might not have heard that as well with 48,000 in the building as we saw on Monday on opening night. Curtis Granderson 0 for 1. The 1-0 pitch. 1-1. This man can do a little bit of everything. In fact, 2 years ago, became one of only 3 players in Major League history to get 30 doubles, 20 triples, 20 home runs, and 20 steals in one season. In fact, 3 guys have done it in Major League history, and Granderson and Jimmy Rollins of the Phillies both did it in the same year, 2007. Speed, power.
And you wouldn't think that he has the power to do that when you take a look at him, but he generates a lot of bat speed. And he gets a lot behind him. You see he's got that little kind of like shove into the ball, how he kind of goes down and he gets everything into it. And his bat is so quick through the strike zone. Led the AL in triples in 2007 with 23.
3-1 pitch, and it's looped into right field, dropping in front of Rios. Granderson is 1 for 2. And the Tigers have 2 base runners with 2 out.
Looked like one of those cutters, and I think it got the bat. I think he shattered it, but quick enough to get that head of the bat through the strike zone for the hit. 5th hit already for Detroit.
Strike 1 to Polanco, who hit what looked like an easy fly ball out to left field in the first inning. But Travis Snyder was playing back and couldn't make it to the ball on time. So Polanco picked up a base hit and was on when Cabrera hit it out. And he chops this one to third for Roland. He touches the bag and gets the force, and that's the inning. 2 hits for the Tigers, no runs, but they lead by 2. It's Detroit 3 and Toronto 1. line while watching this game. Answer questions based on the game for your chance to win a 52-inch Sharp Aquos LCD TV. Log on right now to sportsnet.ca/baseballgame and launch it. Jamie Campbell and Pat Tabler are with you tonight from Rogers Center. Here's Lyle Overbay, who leads things off in the second against Zach Miner. And Overbay had last night what may be the defining moment of the game, with all due respect to the home run by Aaron Hill, but he hit one hard to third baseman Brendan Inge in the 8th inning. Inge threw it in the dirt to first as Overbay rolls over to second base, and he's an easy out. And the error by Inge essentially gave the Blue Jays an extra out to work with, and a few batters later Aaron Hill hits a 3-run home run.
Detroit gave up 71 unearned runs last year because of all the errors they made. They made 113. Those 71 unearned runs, second in the American League for the most. And it looked like it really came back to bite them in last night's game, the situation you just talked about. So they wanted to go out and try and improve the left side of their infield, and I think they have. Unfortunately for Jim Leland and the Tigers last night, that one error turned out to be huge, and those 3 runs came across on the home run.
And this one batter here, Rod Barajas, is the man who brought home the game-winning run in the bottom of the 9th on a sacrifice fly. Barajas starts his 3rd straight game. Cito Gaston prior to this one hinted that Michael Barrett would catch the rookie Ricky Romero tomorrow afternoon.
He caught him in his last start, Romero's last start in Florida against the Marlins.
This ball headed toward the corner. Anderson over for a look. It's about 3 rows too deep. And what an interesting matchup tomorrow, Pat, for the so-called getaway game that starts here at 12:30. Rick Porcello against Ricky Romero. And for the first time since the draft began in 1965, 2 former first-rounders make their major league debut against each other.
Think about that. The draft started in 1965, and this is the first time former #1 picks.
Whoa, which is going further, the ball or the bat? Barajas thrown out at first. The bat ends up just beyond third. In fact, the Fast Facts are brought to you by Rogers High-Speed Internet, the fastest and most reliable, period. Speaking of rookies, and this one's interesting too. It's the first time in Blue Jay history that 2 rookies have started the season in the rotation. I'm thinking back to that 77 team, and I'm thinking,
no rookies. They'd be
a
all
lot of
veteran
old-timers.
guys,
Bill
right?
Singer,
yeah.
and Jerry Johnson. No, Jerry Johnson was in the bullpen. Jesse Jefferson, I think, was in that rotation. But either way, a cut and a miss from Travis Snyder, who is a rookie. And David Percy doesn't qualify as a rookie, but he's awfully close. 0-2 on Snyder, and a breaker in front of him, 1-2. Miner gets the wave and a miss and gets the strikeout. 1-2-3 go the Blue Jays in the 2nd inning. It's Detroit 3, the Blue Jays 1, and you're watching Blue Jays baseball on Rogers Sportsnet.
At the TD Canada Trust Comfort Zone, the big green cushy seats being represented today by the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And with me now is Kimberly Hughes from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Tell us a little bit about Wednesday's Wishes.
Well, Wednesday Wishes and Blue Jays Dreams is a partnership between Make-A-Wish Toronto and the Blue Jays. And it's a fantastic way for our children to be involved in the batting practice aspect and to get tickets to something they might normally not go to.
I understand that if tickets are purchased in this section, that a donation will be made. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
For sure. We are encouraging people in the public to get a group together, corporate group, family group, and buy tickets in the Wishing Well section. $5 from every ticket does come to Make-A-Wish Toronto, and it'll help continue this program.
Kimberly, you've obviously been a part of this for some time now. What's it like for you to be able to experience what the kids get to experience, kind of living through them, if you will?
It's just so exciting to see their faces and to see the smiles on their faces when they get to see the players or get their hats signed or to even just watch the game. We had Madeline throw out the first pitch today, and she was so excited because Alex Rios caught the ball for her, and it's her favorite player.
Thanks so much, Kimberly.
No problem.
That's Kimberly Hughes of the Make-A-Wish Foundation as we have the first out of the inning, a fly ball by Maglio Ordonez to Vernon Wells in center field. Jamie?
Sam, thank you so much. And Pat, you and I saw some of the wide-eyed children down there around batting practice today, and what a wonderful charity that is to allow some of these kids to come down and go face-to-face with some of their baseball heroes. Great work by the Wednesday's Wishes in conjunction with the Blue Jays.
Yeah, the Blue Jays players are so gracious to come out here. It's wonderful.
Here's the man that's done the damage for the Tigers to this point, Miguel Cabrera's first home run of the season. Came back in the first inning, a 3-run shot. So he's enjoying a good start to the season, 4 for 7.
We were talking about the home runs that he hit after the All-Star break last year. How he seemed to kind of get very familiar with the American League. Along with those 21 home runs, he led the American League in RBIs after the All-Star break with 70. And before all is said and done, this guy's going to drive in a whole boatload of runs. Coming into this year, he has averaged 118 in his first 5 years in the big leagues.
Three balls and 1 strike to Miguel Cabrera. Shallow center field, shallow enough for Aaron Hill to back off and make the catch. There are 2 away in the third. It was an up and down year for Jesse Litch last year. He had a great start to the season, going 7-1, and then through the middle of the summer went 1-6, and the Blue Jays sent him down to the minor leagues. They felt big league hitters were adjusting to what he was doing. And to his credit, he didn't make a fuss. He went down, worked on a few things, and was a vastly improved pitcher when he came back up in late August.
Yeah, can I add an addendum to that? You said it was an up and down year. How about an up and down and then up again?
Yeah.
Because he really finished strong. 5-2 down the stretch with an ERA under 2. Batters hit just over 200 against Jesse. And a lot of that is credited with a little bit of change in his repertoire of what he's going to throw. Got those right-handers off the plate with a good fastball. And it seemed like when he came back from the minor leagues, he added miles per hour. I remember seeing some radar guns last year at 93, 94 miles an hour.
His first start upon returning was at Comerica Park against the Tigers, a game the Blue Jays eventually lost. Jesse Litch got a no decision, but 5-2 in his last 9 starts of 2008, including a complete game 4-hit shutout of Minnesota in September, as he runs it in on Carlos Guillen and strikes him out for the second time. Take a look at that, says Jesse Litch. And he gets his first 1-2-3 inning of the game. Off to the bottom of the third when we continue on Sportsnet. Birthday Wishes program. $5 from every ticket sold in the Make-A-Wish section will be donated back to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Toronto and Central Ontario. Hey, if you want to take it one further, maybe buy a couple of tickets in that section and donate them straight up to Make-A-Wish, and you'll see a few more wide-eyed kids coming to the ballpark this summer. So here's the last of the third inning in the top of the order. Scudero, Hill, and Rios coming up to face Zach Miner. Off the inside part of the bat, Santiago goes out. It drops behind him, and Marco's got his second hit of the ball game. A double and a single from the leadoff man.
Okay, if you're aggressive and you get that bat out there, sometimes you can just kind of muscle that ball. Look at the movement on that fastball from Miner, just bearing in on the hands of Marco Scudero. We got a shot of him kind of shaking his right hand. The ball gets in there and jams your thumb a little bit, and boy does it hurt, but he'll gladly trade that in for a base hit.
Aaron Hill doubled in a run back in the first inning after Scudero had doubled ahead of him. So early on this season, Aaron's got 5 RBIs in the number 2 hole in the lineup. And Cito told us that was not a stat building position.
Yeah, he says usually you're bunting or you're hitting and running, you're slapping the ball around. He thinks that Aaron can be very good in that number 2 hole if he just does what he's done in the past. Remember a couple of years ago, he had 17 home runs. And a whole slew of doubles also.
In 2007, 17 home runs, 47 doubles. That's Lyle Overbay territory.
Well, that's going to score a lot of runners from first base.
There's the appeal. And Chris Guccione says that Hill went around. Aaron now entering his 5th year with the Blue Jays after debuting in May of 2005. 1-2. The pitch from Miner on the ground. Fair and thrown to second in time. Not in time at first. They get the force at second. And it's a fielder's choice for Aaron.
Placido Polanco is very quick around that bag at second base, isn't he? He made that look easy and got that left foot off the bag so he wouldn't get hit by the runner. Scudero, watch him dig this one out and then get out of there quickly. Really no chance to get Hill because the ball was not hit that hard. He is really good around there. A Gold Glove second baseman for the Tigers.
Alex Rios now looks at a breaking ball for strike 1. Good patience from Rios. 2 balls and a strike.
We were talking to Cito before the ball game, and Alex Rios' name came up, and asking him, well, you know, what kind of things are you working with him? And Cito saying, we're trying to get him off his backside. He's kind of has a tendency to kind of stay on his back leg and try and lift the ball. He said what Gene Tennis and Cito trying to do is trying to get him to stand a little bit more upright and use that back leg and to push off that back leg and stay balanced. And you're going to start seeing some of those balls that are kind of lifted into the air. They're then driven into the outfield for home runs. And it all starts with the lower half.
Ball 4 to Rios, who draws a walk with 1 out. What a benefit for these Blue Jay players to have really 2 hitting coaches, Pat. Cito Gaston was an accomplished hitting coach before he ever took over as manager of this team, and Gene Tennis has done a wonderful job.
Keeps it very simple. You know, they all work very hard. I'm going to say 2.5 hitting coaches, because Dwayne Murphy does a good job and knows a little something about hitting also. Had a lot of these players in the minor leagues. They work hard. They keep it simple. I think they've seen everything in baseball all the years that they have spent coaching and playing.
2 men on now for Vernon Wells. That catches the outside corner for strike 1. Vernon walked in the first inning to load up the bases with nobody out, but Adam Lynn hit into a fielder's choice, and then Roland flied out to right. Rios was gunned down trying to score, and the Blue Jays only got 1. Let's see if they can take advantage of this opportunity in the 3rd inning with 2 on and 1 out. You know, the Blue Jays were in danger last year of not having a 20 home run hitter until Vernon hit 2 on the last day of the season and just got to 20.
We talked about that a little bit in the opening, about the power that was zapped from this club last year.
1-1 pitch, a ground ball scooped by Santiago on to first, and a 6-4-3 double play. Just what Zach Minor was hoping for. And so after 3, it's still the Tigers 3 and the Blue Jays 1. Tonight, the Senators head coach gets an extension, and guess what begins tomorrow from Augusta? The Masters. Mike Weir will be there, hoping to win another one. Stephen Ames representing this country as well, so they'll be keeping an eye on that. Back at the studio, here it's the Blue Jays and Tigers on Rogers Sportsnet. 3-1 in favor of the visiting team. I'm Jamie Campbell with Pat Tabler. Gerald Laird settling in against Jesse Litch. Jesse has allowed 3 runs on 5 hits. The Blue Jays with a run on 4 hits against Zach Minor. Nothing in 2 to Laird, and a breaking ball in the dirt, handled by Barajas. From here, the Blue Jays go off to Cleveland for a 3-game series that begins on Friday. and then 4 games beginning Monday in Minnesota. A quirk in the schedule, Pat, the Blue Jays do not play the American League East in the entire month of April as Laird grounds to Rolen. He goes across the diamond for out number 1.
When was the last time that happened?
Can't remember. May 1st is the first time the Blue Jays see an American League East opponent when Baltimore comes in here for 3.
We were kind of talking about that the other night also, that Blue Jays do not go see Yankee Stadium, new Yankee Stadium, for the first time
until July.
July, August, and September are their 3 trips to New York.
Brandon Inge now. And so far in 2+ games this year, Inge has more total bases than he does at bats. He's got 10 total bases on 2 home runs and a double, and 9 at bats.
Well, one of the things that they have worked with him, and he had an awful year last year. His playing time was sporadic. Did some catching, played some third, played a little outfield. They tried to make him one of those super utility type of players, and it really didn't work. A few years ago, he had 27 home runs, and he's kind of gone back to that stance where he's kind of adjusted his hands. They're up and out from his body a little bit more. He and Lloyd McClendon, the hitting coach for the Tigers, have kind of worked on that. And it could finally be the adjustment that's going to work for him.
Oh, he takes it in the shoulder. And Litch comes at him with a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
And just trying to move him off the plate so he doesn't extend those arms. Every ball that he has hit in this series have been balls out over the plate, and he's got them. See Rob Barajas kind of slide down inside. And Jesse trying to bust him in with a fastball, misses up and in, hits him in the shoulder.
He's doing a nice job of hiding the fact that that probably hurt.
Nah, that didn't hurt.
He's going, and here's the throw down. Not in time, as Inge slid underneath the tag of Marco Scutaro, and he's got a stolen base. And that throw was offline. Scutaro did a nice job of keeping it around the bag.
Well, they were playing hit and run, so it wasn't a big jump by Brandon Inge, but you're right, that throw kind of sailed a little bit and tailed. And the swipe tab by Marco Scutaro to no avail as Inge picks up the stolen base. He has 38 career steals. So a catcher slash third baseman with a little speed. Jim Leyland trying to get his offense going again after the first inning, trying to make something happen, playing hit and run, and it works out for him.
So the Tigers have a man in scoring position for Ramon Santiago. 1-1 is the count. Here's Litch working it in at the knees. Santiago picked up a base hit 2 innings ago on a ground ball to the shortstop Scutaro, making his first appearance of the year. A chopper down the first base line, and it rolls foul as we bring in Sam Cosentino.
Well, Jamie, you look at Santiago playing today over at shortstop. We'll get the start tomorrow afternoon at second base, and Placido Polanco will get the rest. And Pat, I know you've touched on it all series long that Jim Leyland wanted a team with a little more flexibility. Santiago being able to play both middle infield positions definitely gives him that flexibility.
Players that have played for Jim Leyland have told me they love playing for him for that fact. He makes them feel like they're part of the team. He doesn't carry that 24th or 25th man and sit him on the bench and never play him and let him rot and then say, okay, hey, come up in the bottom of the 9th inning now and try and win us a game. He keeps everybody fresh. He keeps everybody into the game. He works his pitching staff well. No surprise that he's played, or excuse me, managed a lot of teams that have won.
3-2 pitch taken by Hill. He gets Santiago at first as Inge advances on to third, and that's out number 2. And it seems as if Gary Sheffield and the release of Sheffield has really, as you touched on, allowed for so much flexibility. As we look at this bat, oh, look out, Jesse. Whoa.
Didn't know where that one was going to be.
Half a cartwheel to get out of the way.
Bouncing. Yeah, you were touching on the Sheffield being released and how it's made it more flexible. It gives them an opportunity to use another position to kind of rotate guys in when they need a rest. You get Maglio Ordonez off the AstroTurf here, and you let him DH, and you still keep his bat in the lineup. And being a manager, sometimes you have to make those tough decisions. And you know, releasing Gary Sheffield was a tough decision.
A costly one, too. The 1-0 pitch to Josh Anderson fouled back. So 2 out and a man on third here for the Tigers, who lead by 2. Game 3 of a 4-game series. They wrap it up tomorrow afternoon in this building. Litch deals, and it's sent foul again. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Jesse finished up last year 13-9 with a 3.58 ERA in 28 starts. Two balls and 2 strikes. He pitched in 126 innings last year. If all goes according to plan, and having Jesse as the number 2 in the rotation, he's going to be expected to throw a lot more than 176 innings. As he gets set for the 2-2, and it's slashed down the left field line and just foul.
Yeah, you're going to have to at some point give that bullpen a little bit of a rest. You know what you get with Roy Halladay. 7 innings are in the bag, right, for sure. That's going to go a little bit further. But with the 3 other young kids that you have in there, in terms of major league experience, the youngest player is Jesse Litch. He's the youngest starter that the Blue Jays have. But in terms of major league experience, the other 3, you just don't know what you're going to get or what you're going to expect. Jesse's got a little bit of a track record. He's been through the battles before.
A full count to Anderson. Here it comes, and it's ball 4. He walks the number 9 hitter, and will have to deal with Curtis Granderson with a couple aboard.
Really wanted to stay in on Josh Anderson, trying to cut that ball in on his hands. Thought he might go to that 2-seam fastball that he struck out Guillen with last inning, where he froze the left-handed hitter.
First and third for the Tigers. And Granderson is 1 for 2. Boy, Jesse last year at one point went 38 2/3 consecutive innings without allowing a walk. It's just something he doesn't do very often, but he walks the number 9 hitter and keeps the inning alive for the Tigers. 1-1. Detroit has Inge at third, Anderson at first. Litch deals the 1-1, and it's hit high and deep into center field. And here's Wells right at the line. He takes it for the out. No damage done in the 4th. When we return, Lind, Roland, and Overbay come to the plate for the Blue Jays.
I had the opportunity to check out the Roundhouse Carvery and Bar. And what they've done there is just open up in a nice bar area with a marble bar top and a little roast beef sandwich, turkey sandwiches, freshly carved, served with a little mayonnaise, a little horseradish. Pretty good, guys. I gave it a test drive today, and just one of the many new concessions here at the Rogers Center.
Out of a score of 1 through 10, Sam, what would you give it?
I'd give it an 8.5.
Ooh.
But the thing is, I got there too early, so it was a little too cold. If I get there when it's piping hot, it's going to move up to a 9.5, I'm sure.
Some of the boys up here were sampling the roast beef and the turkey before the ball game.
How'd it go, Pat?
Not high. The two on the end over here.
Oh, come on, Pat. You're an eating machine.
Yeah, press box.
Radio analyst Alan Ashby says that you're the only guy he's ever seen eat a spaghetti sandwich.
I can't argue.
There's Adam Lind. Bottom of the 4th inning at Rogers Center. And Zach Miner working for the Detroit Tigers. Zach's first big league victory came in this ballpark back in June of 2006. Adam is 0 for 1. Swing and a miss and a strikeout of Lind. He's now 0 for 2.
Zach Miner has done a much better job since the first inning of mixing his pitches, changing speeds, and locating his pitches. This one right on the outside part of the plate. You see that backdoor cutter. Tough for a left-hander to give up on that one.
One ball and no strike on Scott Rowland. And now 1-1. We're reminded of how things can change day to day in this game with 162 games in a season. On opening day, the stars were the two kids. Adam Lind with 6 RBIs. Travis Snyder had a home run and a double. And ever since opening day, in the game yesterday and today, they're a combined 0 for 9. So you can't lean too heavily on the kids. Everybody's got to make a contribution.
Cito has talked about that the last couple of days, that, you know, some days they're going to be up, some days they're going to be down. You can live with it. When they're good, when they're on, they're good, real good. And I think the same thing is going to happen with the pitching staff. There's going to be days where they're really good, and there's going to be days where it's not going to be fun. That is just the nature of the beast.
Rowland backs off now, and what Cito will do is he'll keep running those kids out there. And they can now come to the ballpark every day knowing if they struggle, it doesn't mean they're out of the lineup. As the ball is hit sharply up the middle, a base hit for Rowland. So he's got his first of the evening. And the Blue Jays have matched the Tigers with 5 hits. Lyle Overbay hitting 7th. Stands in now to face Miner. And it's in the dirt. Lyle looked back on last year and thought he was perhaps a little too cautious. Took too many pitches that he should have swung at. Swings at that one, flies it to center field. Granderson comes over and makes the grab. Well, the first bobblehead of the year will represent Mr. Overbay, in fact, and they'll be giving them away 10,000, in fact, on April the 19th when the Blue Jays take on the Oakland A's at 1 o'clock here at Rogers Center. Sunday, April the 19th. Is the Lyle Overbay bobblehead giveaway presented by Sports Radio, the Fans 590.
It's a popular giveaway, isn't it?
Very.
Not just here, all
Everywhere.
over baseball.
Mm-hmm. And every now and then, we'll be in a city and someone will bring up the bobblehead being given away. I got a Cookie Rojas bobblehead in Kansas City last year.
A Cookie Rojas?
A Cookie Rojas bobblehead. There's Barajas.
Not a George Brett.
No.
Brett Saberhagen.
Frank White.
Frank White.
Freddie Podtek. No.
No.
Cookie Rojas.
Cookie.
Hey, we're going back to the old days of the Kansas City Royals.
Not a slight on my man.
No.
Cookie, of course.
Two strikes on Barajas, rolling at first, 2 out. Bottom of the 4th inning. The Tigers by 2. Minor with the pitch. And Barajas gets under it, flying to left field. And the Blue Jays are retired in the 4th. After 4, it's Detroit 3 and the Blue Jays 1. You're watching Blue Jays baseball on Rogers Sportsnet. On Friday for the home opener of the Cleveland Indians. We'll be there for the first of 3. Scott Richmond appears for the first time in 2009. He starts against the left-hander for Cleveland, Scott Lewis. Please join us on Sportsnet at 4 Eastern Time, 1 o'clock Pacific. That's Friday afternoon.
Cold and rainy, I can take. Snowy and icy.
Forget it.
Forget it. That happened a couple of years ago.
2 years ago in Detroit. We had a game, the second game of the year was snowed out. It's a possibility. You know that. You played for so long in Cleveland. As Placido Polanco steps in against Jesse Litch. And we'd like to wish a happy 82nd birthday tonight to Marg Brown. Hopefully Marg's still up and watching on Sportsnet Ontario in Owen Sound. Congratulations to you. 1 ball and 1 strike. Wave and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes now on Polanco, who Pat has already struck out twice in the first 2+ games. Last year he was the hardest man in the American League to strike out, once in every 14.6 plate appearances.
Yeah, just 43 strikeouts last year and 580 at bats. You see him choking up right now. He's just going to try and punch that ball, but he gets that cutting fastball on the inner half, so he's 3 for 3. A
3 strikeouts
in each one of the first 3 games. Watch how Jesse brings that cutter right in on the inside part of the plate. You're right. I mean, that's a great ratio, what you were talking about. Ideal for a number 2 hitter.
Ordonez, the 3-hitter, fouls it back. Maglio is 1 for 2. Sam, do you have a comment?
Amy, just chipping in on Jesse Litch and the cut fastball. Something that he worked on with Brad Arnsberg over the course of spring training was shortening the cut fastball. When you add a four-seamer, it usually means extension, and so then you have to back off to throw that cut fastball in order to get more movement on it. That was a pretty good example of one there to Polanco.
And there you just saw that four-seamer run in at 91 miles an hour. So you're right, his velocity is up from the middle to early part of last year.
I love Maglio Ordonez's approach at the plate, especially with 2 strikes. He just does not give in. Stays right in there, keeps that front shoulder closed. Really shortens his swing also.
Grounds to third. Roll in a Gold Glover. Gets him 5-3. 2 out. Now I must ask, just to put a bow tie on a conversation in the bottom of the 4th, is there a Pat Tabler bobblehead out there somewhere?
No, I played so long ago, they didn't invent them.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Anybody that knows bobbleheads knows they've been around for 40, in some cases 50 years.
Yeah, the old bobbleheads, right, of the teams.
Made of wood.
Pretty much. So do I. I have a full set also of all the teams.
Really? The wooden ones?
No. The hard plastic ones.
Oh, okay.
Or whatever they're made of.
But there's no Pat Tabler bobblehead?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Well, we've got to fix that.
Why?
Like, let's get one. You can't play all those years in Cleveland, and you were in an all-star game as well. You had a good career. You need a bobblehead.
What uniform?
Suit and tie.
There you go.
1-1 to Cabrera, and he belts this ball to center field. That sounded good. Good enough to get out of here in a hurry. And that's number 2 on the night for Cabrera.
Led the American League last year with 37 of them. Jesse wanting to go down and away. You see Rob Barajas setting up down and away, and that one crisscrosses the plate in the middle. And somebody like Miguel Cabrera knows exactly what to do with a pitch like that. Hit it hard.
Well, let's see if Carlos Guillen can figure Jesse Litch for the first time tonight. He has struck out twice. Jesse got him swinging on a 1-2 changeup back in the first inning. Caught him looking to end the third. And now has a 1-1 count. Litch throws and gets a tapper down the line. Jesse takes it himself, applies the tag, and ends the top of the 5th. But Miguel Cabrera has done it again. 4 RBIs, 2 home runs. He's producing all the offense for the Tigers right now. It's 4-1. Center. It's now 4-1 for the Tigers after a home run, second of the night for Miguel Cabrera. And here come the Blue Jays to the plate with Travis Snider leading off the last of the 5th inning. I'm Jamie Campbell with Pat Tabler and Sam Cosentino tonight. Welcome to Rogers Center in Toronto, and thanks for joining us coast to coast on Rogers Sportsnet. Snider's 0 for 1 with a strikeout at the hands of Zach Miner. He made his big league debut at Yankee Stadium last August 29th and doubled off of Carl Pavano, who now twirls for the Cleveland Indians. Two balls and a strike. Miner got him on a changeup last time up, and to this point he's worked a 3-1 count.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to go softer and softer as he falls behind here to Travis Snider. That last fastball about 76 miles an hour. There, he humped up to 85. We were talking earlier that he seems to be more effective when he doesn't throw as hard as he can. Take a little something off, get a little bit more sink.
Miner winds and fires, hit hard and hit high to center field. Granderson right in front of the track, pulls it down, and Snider's retired. He's 0 for 2.
You know, another thing that we have noticed in the numbers for Zach Miner, he might want to keep his bags packed because he's so effective pitching on the road. Look at these splits, home and road. The ERA, 2 runs less on the road. The opponent's batting average about 70 points lower. And there's also a big discrepancy in home runs. He's given up 17 home runs in big old Comerica Park, just 7 on the road. And showing it again here tonight on the road.
Inge throws out Scudero.
You would think pitching in Comerica Park, that's a great pitcher's ballpark. It's huge in the outfield. The grass is slow. You would think those numbers would be reversed with Zach Miner. Much better, though, on the road.
And remember, it was even bigger when they opened it. They brought in the outfield wall in left field by a good 10 feet or so.
Too many hitters complained.
Yeah. Well, it's fun watching a home run in left field that falls between the old wall and the new wall. And you can tell that years ago it wouldn't have been out, and now it is. Aaron Hill hit a big home run last night, one that gave the Blue Jays the lead, albeit short-lived. They managed to pull off a victory in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Just over that wall.
Almost hit him. Hill gets out of the way, 2-2.
Did you see him kind of signaling to the catcher when Aaron wasn't watching where he wanted the ball, kind of with his head? He was kind of shaking. Hey, let's go inside here. I think I have him set up for a fastball. That's exactly where he went. Now it looks like he's going to go back outside.
Way outside for 3-2. Up at the Toronto bullpen is Jason Fraser, who has yet to make an appearance this year. Swing and a miss, and there goes Aaron Hill in a 1-2-3 fifth for Zach Miner, who seems to have the Blue Jays in control here in Toronto.
really leans on Gene Lamont, his good friend who has a tremendous amount of major league experience, both in the American and National Leagues, to bounce things off when the Tigers are out in the field. But a bit of an oddity in today's game for a manager not to have a bench coach beside him.
Lamont's been around a long time. Leland, for certain, started managing with the Pirates in '86. Hammered left field, and Brandon Inge has done it again. Another home run for Inge. And aren't the Tigers using the long ball tonight against Toronto? Three straight nights for Inge, a guy who last year hit barely over 200.
The long ball is something that the Tigers did 200 times last year. Built for power. That one just kind of hanging over the middle of the plate. And you see Inge's reaction. Looked like he was kind of tipping his cap to the ball, saying, "See you later."
What a start to the year for Inge. He had a 2-run shot against Halladay on Monday night. Last night, the game-tying home run in the 9th inning off B.J. Ryan, and now a solo shot here in the 6th inning off this man, Jesse Litch. His pitch count now up to 1-0-1 as he deals the 2-1 to Ramon Santiago. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Strike 3. No question there. And Litch has his 4th strikeout.
3rd one looking tonight. It's an effective pitch for him. A little fastball that he freezes those left-handed batters with. Runs back over the inside part of the plate.
And that seemed to hit Anderson in the knee. That's a strike.
Yeah, they're calling it a strike because he bunted at the ball. You know, it bounced so far down towards Gene Lamont, the third base coach of the Tigers, it looked like he might have bunted at it or hit it.
Made an attempt to hit it and missed, and it hit him in the knee, and that's a called strike by Tony Randazzo.
Take a look at this breaking ball from Litch. He makes an attempt, and you're absolutely right. It hits him right on that left knee.
That same thing happened last year to Joe Inglet in Tampa Bay. On 2 strikes, he swung and missed at a pitch that grazed him in the hip, and Inge turned around and said, "Why are you calling me out?" It was strike 3. And so here is Josh Anderson, likely smarting and behind in the count 0-1. And now 0-2.
You know what? Throw another one of those breaking balls down and in like that. Guarantee he's not going to swing at it.
He won't swing at that one either. 3 pitches and you're gone. Back-to-back strikeouts, but another home run hit by the Tigers, and this time it's Brandon Inge who's hit them on 3 consecutive days. Detroit 5. The first man to visit on Flashback Fridays this year will be Kelly Gruber, one of the better third basemen the Blue Jays have had in their time. Kelly will be on hand April 17th when the Athletics are here, signing autographs and meeting fans beginning around 5:45. So get your tickets, call the ticket office. There's the number. You can log on to BlueJays.com or visit most Rogers video locations. This will start a cycle of different players coming throughout the season. And then in August, the big celebration of the back-to-back World Series, as you and a collection of players from those years will be up for an entire weekend set against the Baltimore Orioles.
Did you hear some of the other guys who are coming back? John Mayberry. They're trying to get Mookie Wilson to come back,
who was supposed to be here last year, but had some kind of a family situation that he had to attend to.
I heard Rick Leach.
I heard that too.
Yeah.
Baylor Moore is coming back at some point, as we go back quite a ways. One ball and 2 strikes to Alex Rios, who leads off the Blue Jay half of the 6th inning. Alex is 1 for 1. He singled and walked. Little slow roller taken by Cabrera, and he walks it over to the bag for out number 1.
He is really doing a good job right now. Zach Minor changing speed, using all his pitches. When he pitched out of the bullpen, he was basically a 2-pitch pitcher, sinker slider. Since they put him into the rotation now with the injury to Jeremy Bonderman, he's got that changeup, a nice little sweeping curveball, still sinks his fastball. Will cut the ball, throw a little bit of a slider. He was having a bad spring. And the quote from Jim Leland was, "I'm 99.9% sure he's not going to be in the starting rotation," as that ball's topped by Vernon Wells.
Bare hands, doesn't get him. Wells beats it out, an infield single for Vernon. Nice effort, though, by number 15.
Boy, he's doing it all, isn't he? With a glove, with a bat. But he was playing just a little bit too deep. Vernon Wells up there. He has to. He's up by 4 runs. He's not going to play for the bunt. Let's see if that leg feels good for Vernon Wells. Certainly does. Infield single. But to finish that thought, having a bad spring, 99.9% sure he's not going to be in the starting rotation. He's going to make the team in the bullpen. Bonderman gets hurt. He goes out there and throws 10 consecutive scoreless innings after he was then announced that he was going to be in the starting rotation for the Tigers. Pitching very well here tonight.
This game seems eerily similar to last night when Edwin Jackson held the Blue Jays at bay for 7 innings. And they had to wait for the bullpen to come in to get active, and Adam Lind hopes to do something to change that. He fouls it off into the seats in left field.
When he's got that sinker working, he'll get the ground ball outs. 9 of them already tonight. Not really a big strikeout pitcher. One of the problems he was having in spring training is everything was up in the strike zone. Not so here tonight. Good pitch there.
Sam, do you have a little more on Minor?
Well, Jimmy, when it comes to Minor, it's not just a mechanical thing, but Jim Leland mentioned to him that he wants him to pitch to get outs, not to pitch to avoid getting runs. And I think that's the difference when you take that philosophy to be aggressive and to try and dictate as opposed to having play dictated to you.
Swing and a miss, and there goes Lynn, striking out for the 2nd time. And some great action on the ball there off the hand of Minor. He gets his 4th strikeout of the night.
It looks like he's doing exactly what Sam was just talking about, being aggressive and having a purpose with your pitches. Good change up there to get Adam Lind for the 2nd time.
Ball 1 to Scott Rowland now, and Rowland is 1 for 2. watched the Tigers gradually add to their lead with the solo home runs by Cabrera in the 5th, and then Inge at the top of this inning. And we continue to go back to that first inning opportunity. The Blue Jays with the bases loaded, a run already in, and they couldn't bring anybody home. And there was an opportunity, Pat, to really do some damage early, shake up Zach Minor a little bit. He got out of that inning, only giving up the 1 run, and it's allowed him to settle in and pitch to this point a very good game.
3 base hits to the first 3 batters of the ball game for the Blue Jays. Just 3 since then.
And Santiago drops the ball, and that might shine a little fortune on the Blue Jays. Who knows? It was an error last night that opened up the floodgates.
In 2006, when the Tigers went to the World Series, they were the #1 rated team in the American League in getting outs on balls in play. They played great defense. Last year, they slipped to number 8 in the American League. The defense didn't help the pitcher. Another error by the inner defense for the Tigers. And you're right, maybe this opens something up. Jim Leyland wants a better situation here. He wants to bring in the left-hander to face Lyle Overbay.
Bobby Well, here's Bobby C., a left-hander who pitched last night, coming in to face the left-handed hitting Lyle Overbay. The inning extended thanks to the error by Ramon Santiago, and the Blue Jays have a couple of men on base as it's ball 1 from C to Overbay. That error undermining the performance of Zach Minor, who departs after 5 2/3. Committed by the shortstop, Ramon Santiago. So Rollins at first, Wells at second, C with a 1-0 count on Lyle Overbay. Strike 1.
C had a tough year last year as the left-on-left specialist out of Jim Leyland's bullpen. Lefties hit over 300 against him. That coming after 2007 when he was great, giving up an average of just over 200. He would be tough, I think, for a left-handed batter to pick up the ball. He really hides the ball well. He kind of throws 3/4 action, and he'll start that breaking ball right at you to make you freeze.
1-2, and it's off the plate 2-2. And perhaps this is an example, Pat, of the faith that Cito Gaston shows in his regulars, because he has a right-handed hitting first baseman sitting on the bench right now who hit 20 home runs last year in Kevin Millar.
And you know, Bobby C. it just comes in to face left-handers. If he loses them, he's usually just there for just one batter.
2-2 pitch and a swing and a miss, and Overbay goes down on strikes and leaves 2 on base. So C does his job. 2 are stranded, and the Tigers. Commentator clothing is provided in part by Zizenia. Statistical information provided by StatsInc. We'll work our way down into the 100 level here. It's the Blue Jays and Tigers tonight under the roof at Rogers Center. On Sportsnet, I'm Jamie Campbell with Pat Tabler and Sam Cosentino. We welcome Jason Frazier into the game. He makes his first appearance of the year.
Got into 6 ball games in spring training. Good numbers for Frazier last year. 49 games, opponents hit just over 200 against him. He was really good last year in stranding inherited runners. Just 4 of them scored last year in the 32 runners he inherited. Starts off the 7th inning with a strike to the leadoff batter, Granderson.
Gets a swing and a miss from Granderson. And it's 0-2 on the leadoff man. Polanco's on deck. Maglio Ordonez to follow. The 0-2 pitch and a wave and a miss. Granderson strikes out very quickly. Frazier gets the strikeout.
Jason used to use a split finger grip for his changeup. But he said he's going to go to the garbage can and pull out that straight change that he used to throw years ago. And he's going to use it to left-handed batters. That time, those last 2 pitches were just that. The results are pretty good with a strikeout.
In fact, he made an investment in that changeup in the offseason because he felt that getting 1-year contracts wasn't very good job security. He's got the great fastball and the good slider. And this past off season, at his own expense, he went down to a place called Maryville, Tennessee, at his own expense, and worked with former big league pitcher Doug Bockler. As the ball is hit in the air to right field by Polanco, and that's out number 2. Bockler at times has worked with people like Trevor Hoffman and Johan Santana on changeups. And Frazier figured, if I need to add a 3rd pitch, why not go to a guy who knows how to teach it? And you're going to see a lot of changeups from Frazier this year. He's added a 3rd pitch to his arsenal.
Yeah, he's got great arm action on his pitches anyway. You mentioned the good fastball in the low 90s. You throw that straight change like we just saw to Granderson, and you're going to get good results, I think. He says it was hard to throw it, the splitter, kind of the split grip change up, because his hands not big enough.
Yeah.
His fingers aren't big enough to really control the pitch.
There's the breaking ball, or as Brad Arnsberg calls it, the knee buckling slider. And quickly, Fraser gets ahead of Ordonez, 0-2. Goes to the heat outside. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. There's those little fingers trying to get a grip on the baseball. He's really working that, Pat.
That's how he used to throw his change. Now it's the straight circle change. You see Ordonez really sitting on something off speed right there as that fastball is beating him. That's why he is such a good hitter. Thinks right along with the pitcher.
2-2. And it's sent high in the air to right field. And stays in the park for Alex Rios. A nice 7th inning for Jason Fraser, who gets a 1-2-3. Well, here is the game review. A 3-run lead right out of the top of the first inning for Detroit, but Toronto got just 1 in their half. They could have had a few more. Home runs a little later by Cabrera, his second, and Inge makes it a 5-1 lead for Detroit. And Zach Minor has pitched a very nice game. Bobby C in relief faces Rod Barajas here to start the last of the 7th inning. Barajas will be followed by Travis Snyder and then Marco Scutero at the top of the order. There's a fly ball into center field. And Rod is 0 for 3. Once again, we bring in Sam Cosentino.
Well, Jamie, it's always important to get your bullpen guys into a game as early in the season as possible. Jim Leyland said before the game that there are 2 guys in particular in his pen he wants to see get in this game. Ryan Perry, who's warming up right now, rookie, big, tall right-hander, and Fernando Rodney. As for Perry, he'd like to get him in with nobody on. We'll see how this plays out here, but with a couple of righties coming up, I would expect to see him shortly.
And there's a very good chance, Sam, that Mr. Perry is experiencing a few butterflies right now, because he was a first-round draft pick last June. The most recent first-round draft pick by the Tigers. In fact,
both of those guys,
their first-round pick from 2 years ago will start the game tomorrow. So there seems to be a major league debut in the works in the bullpen. Certainly one will be starting the game tomorrow. But there's Perry, a big, hard-throwing right-hander out of Arizona. And there's Porcello, who gets the start tomorrow. He's just 20 years old. 20. And he'll start against Ricky Romero in the final game of this series tomorrow here at Rogers Center. I'm coming to that game. I'm not going to miss that.
I wish I was. Got to catch a flight to Cleveland.
So good players, good young prospects all around here as Travis Snyder faces Bobby C. A ball and 2 strikes. Snyder, a first-round pick in his own right back in '06. Oh, look at that. He goes around on the high fastball inside. Tried to hold up, but he's a strikeout victim for the second time, and Snyder is 0 for 3.
Yeah, it looked like he was sitting on something off speed, and the ball just beats him, and upset with himself that he went outside the strike zone for that strikeout. Those are the kind of at-bats when you face a guy for the first time, or you might face him one time. Kind of put that in your memory bank and maybe write a few notes to yourself so you remember the next time you face him, you'll have a little bit better game plan.
A chopper to third, charged by Inge. Throws to first to get Scudero, and C gets the Blue Jays in order. 7 innings are in the books at Rogers Center. The Tigers lead at 5. And Pat Tabler will be in Cleveland on Friday and have all 3 from Progressive Field on the weekend, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from the Metrodome in Minneapolis. A hard hit ball by Cabrera. He continues an outstanding night. 3 for 4, 2 home runs and a single. And he gets the 8th inning started with a sharp base hit to left.
Yeah, if he gets that ball up in the air, that would have been home run number 3. Hit that ball so hard. Look like they're trying to crowd him with fastballs, but they're leaving the pitches over the middle of the plate, and he's not missing them.
Well, here comes Carlos Guillen, who's happy to see the end of Jesse Litch. Jesse struck him out twice, got him on a ground out as well in the 5th inning. Guillen 0 for 3. And he's playing tonight in left field. It's just the 3rd time in his major league career he's played in the outfield. He played 2 games last year. He's well known as a shortstop throughout most of his career.
They had him at shortstop. They actually started him at first base last year and then flipped him over to 3rd.
It's that one the other way, taken by Rolen on a beautiful play, and they get the double play. Wow.
You know, Aaron Hill, the second baseman, had pulled around with the left-handed hitting Carlos Guillen, and the ball was hit so hard he had to sprint quickly to get the second base for the throw from Rolen, who uncorks it quickly. And watch him, he's just from the bag, so he has to quickly catch the ball, find the bag, tag it, and then easily has enough on it to record the double play.
Rolen did a wonderful job on a short hop that was hit very hard.
Yeah, tricky little in-between hop like that, and then he gets rid of it quickly. It's a tough play when you're the second baseman. You have to anticipate that because you've got so much ground to cover if you're playing on the pull side.
Here's a 3-0 pitch from Fraser, and Laird is taking all the way. Ball 4. Once again, Fast Facts are brought to you by Rogers High-Speed Internet, the fastest and most reliable, period. Runs aplenty in the first 2. Just 1 tonight, but it's a better start than last year. Home runs for the Tigers have been the story this evening. They've hit 3 of them. Brandon Inge has 1. His last at bat. Two out man on first. 0-1 on Inge. Fraser sets and fires off speed. And he gets a strike. 0-2.
Inge looks a lot more balanced this year, doesn't he? With his hands a little bit lower, a little bit closer. Tilting the head of that bat right at the pitcher, using that as his trigger. He led the Tigers in home runs in the spring with 5 of them.
A 31-year-old from Oak Forest, Illinois, exhales. And there's ball 2. Runners cut off first, and he is tagged out by Lyle Overbay. Laird tripped and fell, and it's costly. It ends the top of the 8th inning. An alert Rod Barajas throws over to first to get him, and the Blue Jays will come. On the Road is brought to you by Hampton Hotels. At Hampton, we love having you here. Road trip upcoming for the Blue Jays, beginning with 3 in Cleveland, 4 in Minnesota for the final time at the Metrodome in Minneapolis. They'll go to an outdoor stadium next year, and then the second road trip has them in Chicago and Kansas City. All the games on that board will be seen, save for one, on Rogers Sportsnet. And here is Ryan Perry, who is about to make his major league debut in the 8th inning of a game his team leads 5-1.
When spring training started, the Tigers were going to have Ryan Perry play in the minor leagues. They didn't think he was going to make the team out of spring training, but what a spring he had. Great numbers, an ERA under 1, 12 and a third innings, 7 walks, 11 strikeouts, and batting average of 178. And we've been wanting to see him this whole series because he has got an electric arm.
Got a fastball into the high 90s. Throws a sinker as well, a good slider. So say the scouting reports on Ryan Perry, who has rocketed to the major leagues. He was only drafted this past June. Played a year of pro ball in both rookie league and high A. 21st overall pick in the most recent draft, and he signed a bonus of $1.48 million, and he's got some pretty good stuff. Aaron Hill sees some of it now. 92 miles an hour on the fastball there. Hill, Rios, and Wells coming up here in the 8th for the Blue Jays, trailing by 4. One ball and 2 strikes.
He's like another young reliever that we saw from the Tigers a few years ago, coming out of that bullpen throwing some smoke, and that was Joel Zumaya. But you can't really compare the two of them. Zumaya, max effort guy, throws it in triple digits. This guy's free and easy. Look how that ball comes out of his hand and it just kind of explodes towards home plate. Different way to get it up there, but the same results.
He was a shortstop when he enrolled at the University of Arizona. So really hasn't been pitching that long. He's got a 2-2 count on Hill. And it's sent foul by Aaron. What was your mindset when you faced a raw rookie, someone you hadn't seen, and perhaps Hill got an at bat against him in spring training, but that's not a whole lot to go on?
Yeah, well, you'll have some reports on him. You might have some guys on your team who might have faced him in the minor leagues, and they'll kind of give you a little bit of a scouting report. Really pay attention, though, when he's warming up to kind of get an idea of how that ball is breaking. You don't have a book on him of how he's going to pitch you, but watching him here, it's like, okay, be quick. Be ready for that fastball, because that looks like his best pitch.
A full count to Hill. Here comes the pitch. It's slapped on the ground to Inge at third. And Perry gets his first out in the big leagues. It's a ground out 5-3.
You know, being quick and being short are two different things. You know, if you try and say, okay, I got to be fast, I got to get the bat head out because he's throwing so hard, you're going to end up jamming yourself. So you've got to be short with your swing. Let him supply all the power because he's throwing so hard. Your main thing is when you're going to try and hit that fastball, and it's an upper 90s fastball, make sure you get the head of the bat out in front. The ball will do everything else.
1 ball and no strikes on Alex Rios. Fastball away, 2-0.
You mentioned he was a shortstop in college, and he's a converted pitcher. Kind of looks like the St. Louis Cardinals closer, Jason Mott, who was an ex-catcher. Made him a reliever. And he throws awfully hard, too.
Although he got lit up by the Pirates in their opener in St. Louis 2 days ago, as you see Brian Talent stretching in the bullpen. 3 balls, 1 strike. Ryan Perry to Alex Rios. And that's a called strike, so it's now 3-2. Off the plate, did he go around? Yes, he did. And Perry's first big league strikeout comes on appeal.
Check swing by Rios, but it's hard to stop that bat when a guy is throwing that hard. How would you like to have been some of the Florida State League batters last year when you faced Porcello? Who we'll see tomorrow as Fernando Rodney starts to get loose. And then Ryan Perry coming in and finishing up those games.
Unbelievable.
A lot of offers in the bats of those opponents.
With 2 out, Vernon Wells faces Perry. Boy, he's got some giddy up on that fastball. 95 on the gun there. And you're right, a real easy delivery.
Yeah, nice and easy, nice and fluid. A little bit different than Joel Zumaya, but the same results.
Popped him up, straight up, in fact. Laird is under it for the out, and Ryan Perry gets a clean inning in his major league debut. 8 innings in the books, still a 4-run lead.
Homeowners.
A gorgeous clear night here in Toronto. Under the roof, though, at Rogers Center, as the Blue Jays trail it by 4 entering the 9th inning. The second reliever of the night for Toronto is on for the second time this year as Brian Talbot pitches once again. We saw him on opening day. So Talbot goes to work on Brandon Inge. Brian is a 31-year-old born in Midwest City, Oklahoma, and lives in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, after playing at Louisiana State. Big, tall, lanky left-hander gives up a high fly ball to left field. And Travis Snyder has it for out number 1. Jason Fraser in relief of Jesse Litch goes 2 innings, gives up 1 hit, strikes out 1, and walks 1. So Jason will be happy with his first regular season appearance of the year.
Yeah, very clean in the 7th inning. Strikeout, a couple of lazy fly balls to right field. Gave up the bullet to Cabrera, but then got the double play. A nice play around the horn, and maybe Gerald Laird helped him out a little bit by straying off of first base.
It was Santiago's error in the 6th inning on a Scott Rowland ground ball that gave a little life to the Blue Jays with 2 men on and Lyle Overbay coming up. It was, in fact, the play that chased Zach Minor and brought in the left-hander Bobby C from the bullpen. C was able to strike out Lyle Overbay and get out of the 6th inning. So these bats, Pat, that scored 12 runs on opening day have really been muted tonight against the Tigers.
They were muted for 7 innings against Edwin Jackson.
Boy, he was marvelous.
Yeah, he really was. Through the first 5 innings, he threw 51 pitches, which is really good, about 10 an inning. Threw 40 strikes out of those 51 pitches, but they solved them. They had the home run by Rowland to get them going.
Big cut there at the fastball, and Talbot gets the strikeout, 2 gone.
He's got that little cutter. And then when he needs to hump up and reach back for a little something, he can get Santiago in the upper part of the strike zone with a good fastball. Talbot did a good job last year for the Blue Jays, basically pitching in middle relief. He really wasn't a lefty specialist. They leave that to Carlson and Down. He's more of a kind of a middle guy, kind of a bridge guy that if the starter has problems and they need to piece together to get him to the end of the bullpen. He did a good job. When he pitched over 2 innings, his ERA was so good last year. It was microscopic. It was about .3.
1 ball and 2 strikes now on Josh Anderson. Into the windup goes Talbot. Here's the pitch. Strike 3 is called, and he gets a clean 9th. 1-2-3. The Blue Jays will get their last shot at the Tigers when we continue. Adam Lynn leads off the bottom of the 9th on Sportsnet.
The Jays on Rogers Sportsnet. Brought to you by Home Hardware and Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
In Toronto, bottom of the ninth inning, and the Blue Jays are down by 4. They'll face a tough one here in the ninth. Fernando Rodney is the Tigers' closer. Although they signed Brandon Lyon to play that role, Lyon had a tough spring.
Yes.
And Rodney, according to Jim Leland, is the closer for this club. This is not a safe situation, but he's going to get some work tonight.
Yeah, he needs to get some work after not pitching in the first 2 games of this series. With the retirement of Todd Jones, who was the closer for the Tigers the last few years, they are looking and searching for someone to take over that role. Right now it belongs to Fernando Rodney. He's a strikeout pitcher, basically a 2-pitch pitcher. Good hard fastball, good changeup. He has had his trouble with the Blue Jays in the past. What you have to do is you got to get him to get that changeup up and in the strike zone. Look for that fastball. His numbers are pretty good. 8th among all American League relievers, with about 9 strikeouts per 9 innings pitched.
Well, it's strike 1 to the designated hitter Adam Lind, who's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Rodney deals, jams him to a degree, and Lind flies out to center field. So 2 pitches for Rodney and 1 out.
Came to spring training in much better shape this year. Had a very good spring. And you're right, basically won the closer's job from Brandon Lyon.
Strike 1 to Scott Rowland. Rodney's had an injury-plagued career, dealing mostly with right shoulder tendonitis. His only full season was 2006, when he got into 63 games. He's ahead in the count against Rowland here, and gets him to roll a ball to short. 2 away. So again, tomorrow they'll wrap up the series, an afternoon game here at Rogers Center. Rick Porcello makes his major league debut against Ricky Romero, who makes his major league debut. And I think I see Cookie Rojas. It's Cookie Rojas. That's the bobblehead I got in Kansas City last year. See our crack crew of production people led by Jeff Mather had 9 innings to dig up a picture of that Cookie Rojas bobblehead, and they found one. Strike 1 to Lyle Overbay. Please join us on Friday. Again, the start time on Friday in Cleveland is 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific time on all 4 regions. It's the Indians' home opener, and Scott Richmond will take on Scott Lewis in that ball game. Here's Rodney, a strike away from ending this game and giving the Tigers their first victory of the year, but it's hit hard and deep to center field. Back goes Granderson and makes the catch. What a way to end this game for the Tigers. My, oh my.
Lyle gave it a ride, didn't he, to the deepest part of the ballpark. Lots of speed out there in center field. Not a good 0-2 pitch right down Broadway. And he covers it to center field, but lots of speed. Hauls it in for the final out. Rodney's got to like that as he gets an inning of work in.
Well, as it turns out, the Jays had their opportunity.